Okay, I won't deny it, I've got a hangover. But it's a perfect opportunity for me to tell you about the reason why I went vegan and why I stay vegan. Always going fast. Anyway, let's pick up some trash. Okay, I'm just going to walk this bit and tell you my vegan story. I'm still picking up trash, so I might bend down occasionally. And I'm not walking because I've got a hangover, I promise. So let's tell you about my vegan story and why I became vegan, because there's important things here that I just want to sort of share, and that it boils down to one thing, and that is I became vegan for different reasons as to the reason why I stay vegan. And I think that's true of a lot of things in life. Just because you do something for some reason doesn't mean you carry on doing it for the same reason. You can always adapt and never be set in a way of, I'm doing it for this reason. Always sort of question yourself, and maybe you find that you're carrying on doing it for other reasons. And that's a bit true of plogging, but that's another story. So let's tell you my vegan story. So how did I become vegan? Well, it starts in the 80s. Don't worry, it's not going to be that long, but in the 80s I did a postgrad in Bristol for a year, and I thought that was an opportunity for me to be someone different, not with a view of sort of tricking people to think I'm someone I'm not. It wasn't that. It was, I didn't have any baggage if I told them something. I wanted to sort of try something else. If I said I'm a goth, no one would know me to say you're not a goth. And so it was around the time of Morrissey's Meat is Murder, and I thought, let's go vegetarian. So I went there, and if you knew me, you'd know he's a huge meat eater. But I went there, no one knew me, so I could sort of say, yeah, I'm vegetarian, and no one would question me. And I loved it. My body felt so much better as a vegetarian. It was crazy. I enjoyed it so much, I carried on being vegetarian for another 2 years after the postgrad. But eventually, the meat lover kicked in, and I started eating meat again. But I remember so clearly the switch. I was playing a lot of squash in those days, and I played squash the week before, normal, played the squash the next week, and suddenly I felt slow, I felt sluggish, and it was just the difference of eating meat just really slowed me down on the squash court. It was just crazy, but I carried on eating meat. I was that meat lover, and yeah, I just carried on, and that was sort of almost the end of my vegetarian story. You know, I kept on telling people for the next 30 years, oh yeah, I was a vegetarian for 3 years, loved it, best thing I've ever done. Why the hell was I eating meat? It took me 30 years to actually realize I was being stupid. So my daughter had turned vegetarian. She was like 7 or something like that, and she was vegetarian. I think it's because she didn't like how we cooked the meat. I think that was a reason. But she said, I don't want to hurt animals. So she went vegetarian, and I think she inspired me. So my daughter inspired me to switch back to being vegetarian. I thought, if my 7-year-old daughter can make that decision, why can't I? So I thought, I'm gonna just give it a go first of all. I'm gonna sort of try it out. So what I did for the next 2 weeks was hid it from my family. I told my daughter I'm going vegetarian, but I didn't tell anyone else. And I was sort of like cooking food for the family, and I'd be like hiding my plate like this so they couldn't see there was no meat on it. And I realized after 2 weeks I felt better. There was, for me in my body, there was this instant happiness of being a vegetarian. It just felt lighter, and people ask me how does it, what sort of impact does it make? And for me, it's all about lightness, a sort of a lightness in the body. I just feel like I'm not holding on to stuff. I'm not holding on to that meat internally. I just feel so much lighter and fresh, and I don't feel sluggish. And in my mind and in my heart and my body, it's incredible. So I went vegetarian, And then I decided to go vegan. So on January the 1st, 2019, I earned the badge, the vegan badge, and I went vegan. I decided to make that stance for trendy reasons. I'm going to be completely honest. I was like vegetarian, but I wanted to be the cool kid, the vegan, the plant-based athlete. I wanted to have that t-shirt that said a plant-based runner. I only eat plants and all that stuff. I wanted that trendy t-shirt. So I did it for purely, I did that switch from vegetarianism to veganism purely for trendy reasons. And I thought, is it going to make much difference? With the vegetarian, in a couple of weeks, I felt bang, so much better. With the veganism, it took about 3 months, I think, for my body to really feel better. But I think that the difference going from vegetarian to vegan was as big as the difference as going from meat-based to being vegetarian. I think it was an equal size. It just took longer for it to make an impact on my body. I'm going to caveat that this is all about my body and how I sort of felt internally. So I would always encourage people to give veganism a go. Cut down on your meat. Think about how it makes you feel. But for me, it reacts this way. For someone else, it might be different. But definitely give it a go. So I went vegan, inspired by my daughter, inspired by how it makes me feel internally, sort of in my body. I just work better. To put that in perspective, as a meat eater, I could get to 60 kilometers a week and my body would break down. It could not go further and I'd get injuries. So if I did 60 kilometers a week, that was it, bang, I'd get an injury, maybe the ankle, maybe the knee. It'd be in different places each time, but I was always getting injuries. As a vegan, I do 4,000 kilometers a year. I average 11 kilometers a day. I've done, even with a hangover, I've done more than 80 kilometers this week. I can easily do 100 miles, 160 kilometers in a week if I want to. It's amazing how my body reacts as a vegan. So it's a huge difference for me. But that is not the reason why I stay vegan. So why do I stay vegan? And it comes down to lightness. Lightness of heart, lightness of mind, lightness of soul. I will always be a vegan for ethical and environmental reasons. That's not the reason why I became vegan, but it's the reason why I stay vegan. Because suddenly I realized, wow, so going past seeing some deer or seeing some cows in the field, knowing that I'm not harming them. That was a very loud motorbike. Knowing I'm not harming them, knowing that there's this lightness of my soul that I have, knowing that I'm not sort of hurting another animal. So that is one. So the ethics has a really important part in my life now, and also the environment. Seeing all the research about how impactful it is being plant-based in terms of the environment, being so just cutting down on your meat, how much that can benefit the environment, means those are the two reasons why I stay vegan: the environment and ethics. But the reason why I went vegan was definitely for the t-shirt. So that's what I just wanted to share, that sort of story. There's a lot more to it than that, but I think just to put it in the video is sort of kind of fun. Anyway, I'm going to carry on jogging. I'm not running hard. The head still hurts from the hangover. It was a good thing. But if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe and all that nonsense. Go on, give it a go. I didn't actually pick up much trash, so I'm going to go onto the bike path and do it properly now. So let's give it a go. See you next week. To show you the difference, literally I just stopped talking there and I come here straight away. There you go. The bike path is where it's at. Let's carry on. Oh, there's another piece.